We are activating your unique self-discovery one show at a time. The Orchard of Wisdom Self-Discovery podcast at your fingertips, just waiting to inspire and invite you in discovering just how awesome you really are and how to navigate through life in joy, enrichment, personal abundance, in mind, body, spirit, heart, and soul. All the people we bring you are here to serve you on your journey of life. Do enjoy our next show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to another edition of Ignite Your Heart and Soul, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My wonderful repeat guest is Lisa Barnett. She's been with me now 4 times, and when you hear what we're going to be talking about today, I promise you, you're going to understand and want to go back and listen to all of her other shows, which I really do encourage. We're going to be talking about your soul's plan today. Your soul does have a plan. It has things all laid out for you. You've just got to walk the path. How do we pay attention to that? Well, she's written quite a number of books, and she's got a new book coming out at the present moment, which is coming out next week, and it's called Your Soul Has a Plan, Awaken to Your Life Purpose through the Akashic Records. And her other 2 books, which we have here, is the Akashic Records, The Infinite Wisdom of, and The Questioning of the Knowing, 73 Prayers to Transform Your Life. So, she doesn't sit around twiddling her thumbs. She is an extremely busy woman who really does put her heart and soul into everything that she does. And she says some of us think we have total free will in our life, and some believe we have a destiny. But your soul comes to earth with a plan. This information is part of the wisdom that is your Akashic Records. It unfolds information about your talents, your purpose, along with your soul contracts and your karmic lessons that you have to learn. In our time together, we're going to be talking about how we plan our lives, why we make some challenging choices, and how we clear them. Will we do a group healing to release some of those obstacles today? Well, maybe we will. Lisa is the international recognized #1 bestseller of The Infinite Wisdom of Akashic Records and From Questioning to Knowing, and to transform your life. And this new book, Your Soul Has a Plan. And, people want to know, what is Akashic Records, and what do you mean we don't have free will? And what do you mean there is a plan? Aren't I in charge of everything? No, we have the free will to react and respond to what's given to us. But what happens to us is pretty much ordained in many, many ways, isn't it, Lisa? Welcome back, my love.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. It's such a joy to be back with you. So, it's a little bit of all of the above is the way it always kind of shows up for me, because we are really ancient and wise souls. Before we decide to come back to Earth, even though so many of the light workers think, what was I thinking? I must
Again?
really, what? And, who sent me here and why am I here? But really, the truth is your soul writes a whole long, intricate plan because we love coming here and we love being of service.
Yes.
And so we want to be able to do that in a myriad of ways. And so I think it's really important right off the top to realize that you do not have a one simple soul purpose. You have many, many purposes. And one of those purposes is to understand and complete your soul's plan, if possible. Now, I think because, 99% of us have no clue that we come with a manual or a plan. Yes. Right? We have amnesia and we're just stumbling about in the world. But a lot of what we come to do is to support other people and to really be the light and to share the wisdom that we get from learning about the karmic patterns that we've planned in our life, and then sharing that wisdom that we've learned through some of the challenges and traumas and experiences, sharing that with other people in our life to support them and help them not walk hard road, because if we can share what we've learned, we can help them bypass some of the trials and tribulations.
Yes.
And, so we can make a plan to have challenges, and we can I'm going to say short circuit it in
Mm-hmm.
some ways with a higher level of consciousness, awareness, help, support,
Yes.
friends.
Yes. Yes. Big word is awareness there, because we are spiritual beings having a human existence, right? And the spiritual beings have no body, so there is none of that attachment. It is just beautiful beingness, right? The human experience is where we get to touch, taste, feel, hold, do. And when we put the two together, it just is so heightened, and it's such a wonderful experience. But most people are just living the human life and not letting the spirit come in and guide them. And you can't just be the spiritual self without the connection to the body. Believe me, I tried and it didn't work. And it is that connection between the two. And I think the presence of oneself, allowing oneself to be present, allowing that wonderful spiritual or knowingness or channeling or cosmic, whatever word you want to use, it come through you. What the important thing is always the connection with the heart. You know, the spirit already is in heart. It already is love. But when we ignite the heart of the human, now we truly have a connection. And if we trust that heart, we trust that soul wisdom coming through the heart, lifting the spirit into action and the mind knowing what it needs to know when it needs to know it, we truly can walk that path with just a few potholes and not so many Grand Canyons.
Yes, so well said. Thank you. It really is true, because if we can, avoid the Grand Canyons, falling in those, down those big rabbit holes, which, some days of, taking a little brief dive into a rabbit hole here or there, because even in the Akashic Records, one of the kind of interesting things that I did when my two best friends died when I was a teenager, I thought, I'm not playing this game. I don't want to do this. I'm just going to go take a deep dive down a rabbit hole and do something very different. I'm going to be human. I'm going to stop being spiritual.
Yes.
And
good luck on that.
Right. Kind of like a bit like you, like, I'm not going to really be embodied. It really doesn't work for us.
No.
But many years later, when I said to the record keepers, kind of in my human remorseness, and I was like, oh, did I totally screw it up? I could have probably been a spiritual teacher at 22 or something like that. The record keepers, of course, laugh at you.
Yes.
And they said, you wouldn't be who you are now if you didn't take that, detour, if you didn't go down that rabbit hole and learn about compassion.
Yes.
Learn about forgiveness.
Yeah.
Help other people who are also, challenged or struggling or working through trauma. You wouldn't be you.
But that's the experience that we're meant to have. Things are going to happen to you. What you have to look at is, how is it happening for me? What am I meant to learn from this? Who am I meant to become from this? And I know both you and I have known people that have had more than their fair share of what's happened to them. And, if they went down the rabbit hole and never came back out, quite honestly, you wouldn't blame them with what's happened to them. Yet they chose to turn it around and say, I'm not going to live in the victimhood. There has to be something more. I have to be something more. And they were willing to go through that whole soul, heart, spirit journey to become. And despite the struggles that they've had or where they are today, every single one of them has said, I'm very grateful for the experience, because I wouldn't be who I am today, doing what I'm doing my heart, soul, spirit work, if I hadn't gone through those experiences, however horrific they were. I look at and see how resilient I am, the abilities I am, the courage and the strength I have, and the trust that I have in the divine to always have my back and show me the way forward.
Right. Yes. And that's where that free will really does come into play, right?
Yes.
We get to say, I'm going to choose something different.
Yeah.
I can, I can wallow in this pond all day, but it's getting a little chilly. Maybe,
Bit
maybe
smelly.
I'll choose to climb out, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll choose to grab that hand that person is reaching me
Mm-hmm.
and get some help climbing out. And it is so important that we have that free will,
Mm-hmm.
because as an infinite soul, in a way, the soul is like, we're just having the experience.
Yeah.
It's not good or bad, right? It's not a right way to do it or a wrong way to do it. It just is. And so we get to say, okay, me as a personality, having this human experience, I'm now ready. And it might be a year, or it might be, 20, or it might be most of your life
A
before you
lifetime, yeah.
say, at 75, like, maybe I can make a new choice now.
Yes, it's never too late, ever.
Right. Right. And I've worked with those clients too. Many, many people who show up in their 70s and
Mm-hmm.
even 80s, and they want to, often they want to make sure that they've kind of, crossed the T's and dotted the I's, and that they've finished the karmic patterns, and that they've been a good enough support system, right? It's always very sweet, because often they're like, so I don't have to come back again unless I choose. Like,
And
I get
sometimes
it.
I think that's chosen for us. Um, I understand why I definitely came back this lifetime. Because I've been through so much persecution for so many lifetimes, because I was put here to ignite heart and souls. That was my job. But I got persecuted for it in many other lifetimes. I'm sure torn and quartered, burned at the stake, you name it, right? And and this lifetime was me to feel safe to step back into my heart and soul spirits work,
Mm.
and to understand it's safe for me to do so. There's still ignorance and ridicule out there, but I don't need to be worrying about the stake,
Right.
or being dunked in the water as a witch or anything
Right.
else like that, right?
Or
So,
any of the, right.
yeah,
All, the myriads of ways that man can
yes.
find, right,
Oh
to
God,
be
yes, yes.
inhumane. Yeah.
You talked about right and wrong, and I think what it's gauged by is compassion and consciousness. When your consciousness is compassionate, and when you're living on that love frequency, that love vibration of which the universe is, you cannot do anything wrong to someone knowingly, for it hurts you. And I think that is, where the wrong and the right comes in, is that, will this inflict pain? And if I inflict pain on another, I know I will feel that pain. So I think that's kind of where the wrong and the right isn't. It's a consciousness, a compassionate consciousness.
Right. And once we hit that level of consciousness, we stop doing those things that we consider bad or wrong.
Yes.
But as a soul, in a different sort of way, and I think the important thing to me is, in working in the Akashic Records, is that all of us live hundreds and hundreds of lives here on
Yes.
Earth, and in many of those lives, we are not nice people. So,
Right.
not only are we getting burned at the stake, somebody's burning you, right?
Right.
And that person is not a evil
No.
person, or a demon or devil, or it's
The act
the,
is, the person doesn't have to be, right?
right. And it's the consciousness
Mm.
of the time, and there's a
Yes.
whole collective
Yeah.
consciousness. And so we say, I've been burned. I wonder what it feels like to be the one who lights the match. I
Mm.
wonder what the other side of that coin is.
Yes.
And we as souls really want to have all experiences, and that is all of the times we get to be the beautiful healers and loved ones, and hold the space for people to raise our children in a loving, healthy environment, right? But on the other hand, we as souls also want to know what it feels like to be the opposite. And so we do it all. And
Yeah.
we are not judged for that, because it is one of the reasons that we have created this earthly dimension, this
Mm.
third dimensional world that we live in. And because we've been kind of stuck in this matrix for so many thousands of years, it's time to unravel a lot of that old story and energy and low vibrational
Let's change
energy. So that
channels. Let's change channels.
Let's raise the vibration of everyone, of humanity, so that we start to see the world in a different way.
We don't need to keep reliving the same old scenario. We've got it, right? And you know, we've all been down that road as you know, doing the bad things and having the bad things done to us. But when, you know, we don't condone the act, but when we actually have more compassion for the person who's committing the act, because where are they that they feel that this is okay? Where is they that their compassion and their consciousness is not raised up, right? So, you know, I think we're in an era, and this is why we see so much resistance at the present moment, why so many people are yelling and screaming and shouting, and so much discord out there, and so many people wanting to go backwards in time, because they know the shift is already in play. They know the consciousness is already rising, and you cannot turn the consciousness back once it's opened up and it's inflow and climbing. And I think this is where the kind of the universe has said, okay, enough of the repeat. You know, let's take everybody up to a higher consciousness and see what you do with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, we are in a new, you know, age, an era, the, you know, age of Aquarius. You can't, it's not that choice we can't back out of.
Right. Exactly.
That is a galactic energy alignment, you know, universal alignment that is going to, and our dear Mother Earth, our dear planet is awakening. She's a sentient being and is awakening. And when you're sitting on an awakened being, you can't not awaken.
And you know, at the present moment, she's actually saying to us, you know, awaken or evict. Because she, you know, she's we have certain groups of people that are earth readers. You know, they can feel every movement and every energy and every matrix of the earth, and they're so in tune with the earth, with Mother Earth. I've always been a universal, you know, so sky reader. So and for a long time, I couldn't put my feet on the earth. Even now, sometimes it's hard for me to put my bare feet on the earth, because I could feel Earth's anger, Earth's pain, of all that we've put her through, right? Without respect, without honor, without appreciation. And it's like we have become so ignorant in our gluttonness. And this is what needs to change, because I think we need to step into gratitude and appreciation in order to evolve.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think the good news is that we've only started doing this for the last whatever number of hundreds of years, and not thousands and thousands. And I really believe that these beautiful children who are showing up on the planet are really here to channel new inventions and to really help us to transform, and then all of what we've done to the planet. And I agree that I believe that if we're going to stay, we need to awaken. And those who are not in alignment, those who don't choose. And again, so much of this is choice, whether it looks like it consciously or not. We can choose to leave through different illnesses, you know, diseases, accidents. And it can be things with, you know, earth changes that will also create some of this. And so I imagine that a lot of people will leave. But again, you're an infinite soul, so you never die. You might leave a body, and you may say, I think I'm going to wait till this is done and I'll come back another time.
Yes, exactly.
After you figure this out.
You go have the experience. I'll catch the next one. Yeah.
So, you know, I imagine there's quite a few people. And you know, over the years, I've been blessed to have so many, you know, phenomenal light worker best friends, and they all really kind of have been, you know, I can do more work from the other side. So I'll be working with you over there. You know?
I actually found I did an interview, I think it was beginning of last year, and it was a woman whose daughter committed suicide, and she said, I'm better served on the other side. I will work with you from the other side, and I will show you the souls that are in trouble, that need help before they take the suicidal road. And fortunately, her mother was open enough to listen to the spirit and listen to that, and they do work together. And sometimes, we look at suicide and it's we look at what Twitch did just before Christmas. Nobody in their right mind just commits suicide, leaving young children and a wife behind, and a life that you're exuberant of. It's that rabbit hole that opens up and swallows you, and there's no reasoning, no rationale, no negotiation, right? This is where you need people to help you get through it to the other side. Because, those people that do commit suicide that didn't really intend to go, oh, whoops, but no, wait a minute, can I go back? I wasn't meant to do that, right? And those that are meant to do that because they do feel they can work better from the other side.
Yes, and thank heavens we have so many of these angelic souls who have, really gathered around us to guide us and to help us and support us to save the world, save the planet, right?
Yes.
It's a powerful time in history, really, to be here.
Oh, it's actually really exciting, isn't it? Because, we're both kind of, up in a few decades here, and this has been kind of my talk all my life, but I was, back in the day, far out, man, because 70s really opened up things and you could kind of speak this way. But it is so wonderful right now that through the gift of technology, the gift that they've given us of technology, which opens up more to communication, to reaching more people, to going more in depth, without media telling us what we can say or not say. Right? The honesty and the openness. More and more people are going, okay, but I didn't know I could feel like that, or I was allowed to feel like that, or that this was happening to me. Because if you go by just the earth doctrine, it's evil and wrong. When you open up to the spirit, how could this be evil and wrong? Because my heart, soul, and spirit is singing.
Right. Well, and again, to me, I feel like, when we can raise our vibration, when we can be in our hearts, when we can start to awaken, even starting, right?
Yeah.
And I see it all over the world. Again, Earth is awake. We will awaken with her. And so no matter what the news says, more people on the planet are awakening than ever before.
And it's not going to be stopped either. They're loving what they do.
No matter what anyone tries to do,
resistance is futile.
Yep. Well, I know. It'd be like if we could just all get on board and
Go for the ride, man. It's cool. Come on in. The waters are great.
Right? Instead, right? Drink the Kool-Aid and just enjoy it.
Exactly. Guilt-free.
Right. Instead of all the trauma and drama. And there is so much to right. There is so much wrong in the world. There is no doubt about it. But the way we will do it, I really believe, is through consciousness and love and compassion and support. And the record keepers always say balance.
Oh,
balancing masculine, feminine, balancing, all of the energies of the planet, and so that we can, even all of the work, especially here, like in, North America, we're all workaholics. I don't know quite as bad in Canada, but in the US, it's a little extreme.
We might be a little more laid back. I don't know.
But really balancing our lives and being, right? It is, again, it's even the thing I notice when I write a book, and it's a lot of doingness, right? It is a lot about doing and writing and channeling and checking and editing and, sharing, and looking for those times to be that light, to really be the energy and be that love that can help to transform. And so, those are the gifts that we get to share, in this sort of way on air, that we can be the light and the energy. And one of the reasons I always love to do group healings is because we get a lot of people together energetically, and it's easier to clear some of these old conscious and many, many unconscious beliefs that have been passed down through your ancestral lineage, by your family, by your society, wherever it is you live. We have many, many, many rigid beliefs. And It's time to unravel them, unwrite them, and delete
Yeah.
them to bring that balance back into the world. So it is time. And that to me is, again, that very exciting
Yes.
part of where we are and what we're doing, no matter what the news looks like. I always, say, just, definitely unplug from that energy and live in our, just share our light, share the love bubble and
Yes.
energy, right? To help humanity to feel that. And the other thing the record keepers always remind me and is really so kind of profound when I notice it, is it doesn't take a lot to kind of help someone to shift their lives. It could be just a really kind word. It can be a little support. It can be a real, true acknowledgement where someone feels seen and
Heard and
really heard. Yeah.
counted. I mean, isn't that kind of really one of the main problems as earthlings, is that we're so disconnected because we've plugged into the wrong power and this societal dictation of what you should be, how you should be, who you should follow, what makes you important, how you're going to be loved. And, I always say Fox News takes a pimple and makes it a volcanic eruption. Right. And social media can do that too. And we've got to remember absolutely everything in life is an algorithm. So what you feed is what's going to grow. And if you choose to be on social media, which I do because I use it also as a platform for good, it is, what are you feeding? Are you feeding hope? Are you feeding love? Are you feeding compassion? Because you never know if that one posting that day is going to be exactly what somebody needs to hear. Those
Right.
words or that picture or that something, that video is just what it needs to feed them, to shift them. And if we could actually just, all of us, do everything with a ounce more compassion, not judgment, not conditioning, not not rule, but just compassion, I think we would shift a lot quicker, because so many people's heart and souls want to step into it, but their minds are still, running on the other treadmill. And it's like,
Right.
you don't need to work so hard. Come over here. But a lot of coming over here is, as you've written in your other book about the knowing, is being willing to go with the flow, allowing to learn to know. You don't need to know it beforehand. You talked about a manual, but we don't really have a manual. It is that consciousness that will tell you what the next step is, or how to feel, or how to react, or what to do. And if we're not present with ourselves, if we're not in tuned to what that next step is, we're going to always be out of step.
Right. And in doubt in some ways, right?
Yes.
So to me, all that you have been through these hundreds of lives, all the gifts that you have honed, all the talents you've actually used are part of, what you put into your plan when you come here and you say, I want to use these gifts and
Yes.
talents. I want to share my heart and my light and my intuition and my compassion, my healing gifts, my writing gifts, my loving gifts, my parenting gifts, my all of, my inventor gifts,
Yes.
whatever it might be. And so, my great hope for this year is that people will stop doubting themselves and their abilities and their gifts and start to step into their wisdom and their empowerment of who they truly are as these ancient wise souls with hundreds of lives and thousands of talents
Yes.
and gifts that you've come to share.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Share is the big word.
Right?
I draw the analogy that, what is our gift? What is our instrument? How do we learn to play it? When we can play that music, that instrument ourselves, that we truly come from it. When I interview musicians, the musicians that are the instrument, that this is heart and soul, right? When we actually can find that instrument that is our heart and soul, this is our gift to play, we look for that orchestra to join. But that orchestra is only as strong as each individual's instrument.
Mm.
And the sharing then becomes the sharing of our gifts in harmony and in sync with each other, so
Mm.
that we can create a piece that resonates out in invitation to everyone else. It's not about one being better than the other. You know, each one can have a solo at a different time, but it's about that this is my gift and I am sharing it with you for the greater good.
Right. Yes. And then we all come together in so many beautiful ways,
Yeah.
right? It looks like that beautiful webbing and interweaving. And I always kind of, when my children young, they went to a Waldorf school, and at the we do the in May they would have the maypole dance with
Mhm.
all of the threads, and they'd all dance around and weave through and make these beautiful patterns, and it was always so fun to kind of watch, and that was always a kind of a symbol to me of that
Yeah.
interconnectedness, and all of these children coming together as this kind of one beautiful group and creating this beautiful dance or your orchestra.
Yeah.
However we choose to really share a lot of our wisdom in the world is perfect,
Mm.
and the old stories of self-doubt and
Mm.
the low self-esteem, a
Mm.
lot of these pieces are what we've been working on healing and clearing really through the Akashic Records, which is, of course, part of source, part of the quantum field. And so when we can start to unravel these aspects of us that no longer serve us or
Uh-huh.
serve humanity, then we are doing it not only for ourselves, but for all of humanity, for the collective. And so I always find that when we do our own personal work, right? When we do our
Yes.
shadow work, when we do our self-healing, when we go to someone, like you or me for assistance and other visions or views, then we are really helping the collective to unwrite those old patterns, to
Mm-hmm.
rewrite the Akashic Record, which we are more able to do now than we have been able to do on this planet for thousands and thousands and
This
thousands
is the
of years.
beginning in
So
many ways, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
super exciting.
Yes, you can. We're going back to the intention of this planet in the first place, I feel. Because so
Yes.
we got, it's, in the Lord of the Rings, when the elves say it's, it's the time of man. And it's like, no, 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 please don't leave.
Leave
We need
us.
your wisdom and guidance. And
Right.
what has man done? It just found different ways to hurt each other. And that is not what we're here for. We're here to love each other. And I always say people like to point a finger, it's this, and this, but it's three pointing back at you, saying, well, what are you doing about it?
Right.
Because what can I do? I'm only one person. You raise your frequency, you step into your love consciousness, you are already a part of the solution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just shine that out into the world, whether it's your family, if it's a
Yes.
friend. You can be at the supermarket and just
Yes.
being kind, loving, compassionate, supporting all of the people who are, there, whether they're, the checkers or helping or whatever, just being happy, smiling love,
Yeah.
right? It's an energy that exudes out, and
Yes.
just one smile can make really a same change someone's day again. And so we don't all have to be out there working as healers or,
Yes.
you know,
No, we can all be healers
we
in
are.
just in our kindness. Just
Yes.
in our
Yeah,
kindness.
absolutely.
I mean, you still got your Christmas tree there and behind because this show is pre-recorded,
Right.
right. So, but I put out a lot of little couple of minute spots through December of just reminding people when they're going shopping for Christmas. We have a pandemic of shortage of staff everywhere. Baby boomers have retired, and a lot of people there aren't enough people to take their place, right? The pandemic has changed people's careers, and people have gone off in different directions. We have a shortage of things that have been made, so therefore it's a shortage on the shelves, a shortage of the people getting there, basically shortage, which means patience, 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 patience. Be grateful for what you can get. Be grateful for the people that are working there, because they're now working that of two people's jobs or more. And be grateful, that you're looking for that perfect gift, but the gift of love, the gift of your heart, the gift of your presence, the gift of your time. never ever underestimate that, because it's one of the greatest gifts you could ever give.
Absolutely. And I mean, really, truly, there's those funny kind of moments where I think, if we go back and we just think that the gift of love really the true gift, let's go back to original,
Yeah.
ways of being
Reset.
where, yeah, reset. We don't need, I always say, I don't need a ton of stuff. I just, come be with us. Let's be together for a meal. Let's go for a hike. Let's enjoy each other's company. Let's support each other. How can I
Yeah.
help you? Any of those kinds of things
Let's
are so
celebrate each
much
other.
more, yeah, are
We
so
don't,
important.
I don't like competition or comparison when it comes to people. Yeah, if you're in a competition, that is, a competition, you're going to compete, right? But the
Right.
moment you step into life comparison and competing against someone else, they've got that, I'm going to get better, I'm going to get bigger. You have to realize that isn't competing with them, that's competing with yourself. And your inner soul is saying, you don't need to do this. You don't need to prove it to anyone. This isn't going to fulfill you. All of this comparison, you're losing yourself in this. All the energy you're putting out there, how about turning it around and putting it in here?
Mm-hmm. Right. All that self-love.
Yeah.
Wow. We would be different people if we had a lot of that. So,
But that's what the invitation is right now, isn't
yes,
it? That's what the soul purpose
absolutely.
is. Let's turn the volume up on your heart, on your love, on your compassion, on your caringness, on your kindness, because the scientists now are on board. They've actually measured the frequency of people who are living the love vibration. And they've
Yeah.
measured it, and they say you're vibrating at a minimum of a 580 hertz. And at these higher vibrations, it literally expands everything, a conscious awareness, intellect, the vibration and the health throughout your body. Everything benefits and grows from that. So if we could all step into that vibration, imagine what the next evolution will be for mankind. We don't want the same old story. We want to know what comes
So,
next.
right. Well, we've moved from one age to another,
Yeah.
right? We've
Yes.
literally moved from one
Yeah.
age to another. And so, and we are completing or just completed a 10-year cycle from 2012 through
22.
2022. We finished this 10-year cycle. It is time to now build on
Yeah.
what we've kind of excavated and the foundation we started
Rooted.
and
Hmm.
all of the old energies. We've said, let's take a look at this so we can let it go. We
Yeah.
need to see what we were thinking, believing. So much of this has been unconscious in our
Yeah.
world for, again, hundreds and hundreds of years. And so it's up to be seen, and it's still up to be seen. And
Yes.
it may take, years more as we're working on transforming that. But, we've gone through a very long 10-year period, and now it's time for us to step into our own power of being the light and of sharing that light and of knowing that love that you are, that ancient, infinite,
Mm.
bright light soul is able to transform the world in so many ways without a ton of hard work, without feeling like you have to do something special or you're not good enough. It's time
Right.
to let those stories go
Just
so that
be.
we
Just
can,
be. Yeah.
right,
Yeah. I mean, it
be
was
that love.
10 and a half years ago that I started podcasting. And I initially
Mm.
was with another network for 13 months, live shows, great training ground. And when I started doing this, I didn't even know what a podcast was. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I trusted. I just went and did. Right. And as we were talking before the show about raising children, we didn't have time to kind of read up on it. We just had to do. Right. So we trusted our instincts and did. Um, in that 10 and a half years, I have met some exemplary people like yourself who have immersed yourselves into the soul heart journey. And you've been doing it all your life, but I feel that it's in the last 10 years that the spotlight has changed, that
Mm.
the almost the global permission has changed. Okay, it's okay. You can come on stage now. You've got permission to speak your piece. You've got permission to be. And I think that's where we're at right now. So when we look at the last 10 years and that wonderful awakening, that permission to, it's now your time to go and speak of the consciousness. It's now your time to awaken the souls and the spirits. It's now your time of this new evolution. You may have been doing it all your life or even for many lifetimes, but this is the time now where it's the stage manager and said, no, this play's been running for a long time. It's boring. Nobody wants to want it anymore. We want new material, right? So it's like, it's a new performance out there that is really engaging people, really having, I want people, when they listen to these shows, when they read your books, when they listen to what you do, to go away and go, I've never thought of it that way. Oh, that's given me a different perspective. You mean I can actually embrace this way I'm feeling? It's not something wrong. And I think in the last 10 years, we've had so many people question that and so many people awaken and go, why have I been taking so long to do this? And once you are awakened, there is no going back.
Nope, no going back. And
Yeah.
it's so, to me, it's so exciting. I have
Yes.
probably more people coming to me in the last, 2-3 years than, in my 25, 30-year career that are
Yes.
like, I just woke up. And
Exactly.
it's so cute. You're like,
Yeah.
yay.
Yes. Welcome aboard. Yeah.
Right. How can I help? What can I tell you? What can I teach you? And so it's I think kind of sweet to realize that. So the third book, Your Soul Has a Plan, is really the first book that people should read.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to see that I've kind of written them backwards.
My kind of girl. If we understand our soul has a plan, that we're here to come to have this human experience, we're here to bring the wisdom of our past lives and of our universal lives to embodiment, and we're here to be creators. We're here to be igniters. We're here to be collective. And when we actually understand that, and in that compassion, love vibration, look at how creative human beings are when they get out of their own way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because when we can let ourselves be intuitive, receive energetic downloads, talk to our higher self, our greater, bigger soul, because we are, again, so much more with so much talent.
Yes.
When we can start to understand that, and many people are learning to access the Akashic Records literally just to be able to go, who have I been? What have I done?
Yeah.
What talents? Let me, clear the blocks and bring all of that energy into this present time, into my body now. And again, one of the great gifts of this energy being in the quantum field is that there is no time and space. I can go back 500 years and reclaim that lifetime in which I wrote with ease and grace and was a published author. Like, let's bring that here now. I know I've been and done that. So now I can stop doubting and wondering if I can write a book and know I've written a book already, many in other lifetimes. And so we start to embody all of those higher aspects of ourselves that are here to be embodied in this life. And that takes so much doubt out of
and angst and anxiety and strain and like, so much hard work. We can just let that go. I mean, I call that the knowingness. Again, when you know what you need to know, when you need to know it, when I've just written my memoir and I was going to do it this way. And then I just started typing. And I just let it go. And then kind of reading it back, kind of, ooh, I didn't know this thread was here. I didn't know this was there, right? I didn't know that was there. And I think everybody should kind of do it even just for themselves in some way, because I think that reflection is a really good way to understand what you want to take with you and what you want to let go.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And the stream of consciousness, when I will literally hear the Akashic Record keepers will say to me, it's time to write another book. And I will say, okay, what are we writing about?
Yes.
know,
I'm open
and
and ready to receive.
exactly.
Yeah.
I open the Akashic Records and I sit down and
Yes.
I block off. For me, it works very well to block off like 3 or 4 days
Yes.
where I'm not going to do anything else. For me, it's actually even best if I can go somewhere else and do it
Yeah.
somewhere else so I don't get distracted by, whatever else is going on in the house or laundry or shopping
Yes.
or, anything else, the pets. Um, but allowing yourself
Mhm.
to, sometimes it might just be a day to write your own story and just
Yeah.
remember and download it the way really your soul sees it.
Yes.
Again, it's
Yes.
not always about we think, oh, I screwed that up, or
Yeah.
I didn't, that was like me. I went down that crazy rabbit hole. I blew it, and your soul is like, no, 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 look at all the good you did. Look at
Yeah.
all you learned. Look at all you remembered. Look at how you have changed because of those experiences in a positive way, right?
Right.
That's part of your path. It's part of why we come here, not just to be like always bright and light. It's to
Hmm.
learn and grow, right? To
Well, it's the
be that
contrast.
example.
The
Mhm.
contrast, right? Is
Yeah.
I spent a good 8 years in the darkness because I was going through a lot of tumultuousness in my marriage and in my life and everything at that time. And I was there for the people that still knew me. Nobody knew the difference. But, as any reader would say, you're not present in your own life. I
Mm.
was in this darkness and being a facade, and I saw the light over there, but I was getting comfortable in the dark. And then it was, now you've got to come out, Sarah. And when I
Mm.
came out, I initially was blinded by the light and feeling the shadows chasing me. And then more and more, I immersed myself into it without fear. And it wasn't the fear of being the consciousness. It was the fear of being the consciousness in my situation. And it
Mm.
was the one to help in the situation so that I could move on and be that light. But the thing is, we look at darkness and light and we think darkness is evil. No, it isn't. I go into the darkness for my contemplation. And if
Mm.
I need light, I am the light in the darkness if I need to see or shed a light on something. So, darkness is never your enemy. Your darkness is your enemy when you won't allow any light in.
Beautifully. Yes, beautifully said. Thank you. Absolutely. And, I always have found that when I go into the Akashic Records, people will say, oh, like, what do you see? What's it like? And I say, honestly, I'm going into the void, which is
Yes.
again the darkness. It's just
Yes.
I'm in the void until I formulate a question or I'm working
Hmm.
with a client and they ask a question. And then it's almost like the record keepers are, this book, this book, this book, or
Yes.
this
Yeah.
life, this
Yes.
story, this time in their life, and we can pull it all out of this quantum field, which truly is that void.
You're the
But
cosmic
otherwise,
librarian.
right, right, exactly. Otherwise, you can just hang
Yeah.
out and be all blissed out in this void.
Right. Oh God. And believe me, it's beautiful. I always call
Mm-hmm,
it the everything and nothingness.
mm-hmm,
And I think the main thing is because we're out of body, right? So we're really just amongst all this just beautiful peace and divine and love, and there is no agenda other than just to be. And what we are needing for the next moment, or for the next phase, or for the next this or that, is given to us. And there is no, well, what's your agenda? Or what's this? There's none of that. There's just such peace and trust and
mm-hmm.
bliss. Yes.
Yes, yes. Oh, yes, right. And then we come back in the body and then we share that out into the world.
Exactly. And I was given a condition, and I felt like, why are you giving me this condition? You've already given me asthma when I was young, but why have you given me this condition? Why do I still have it if I raised my consciousness so much? And it was because your energy is too much for
Mm-hmm.
humankind at this time, and we have to give you some pain to dampen the energy so that it is more receivable. And that is okay. All right, fine. All right, this is well, I know what it's for. All right, because I know that I can sometimes be too much of my energy, and there will be a time that I believe I'll be able to be free to be that energy as the consciousness wakens. Right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And what a blessing to get the answer, to be
Yeah.
able to, because dampens it down just a little bit,
Yeah.
let's put on just a little light gray cloak or something instead of all that sunshine, right? Not
Yes.
good to look at that sunshine. So there is absolutely, the time is coming really soon, right around
Yeah.
the corner. It is already here, right? And
Yes.
so I know that all that goodness, all that light that you are is here to shine out, especially on all of the people who are ready for it, and
Right.
more every day. So it's, again, just so many things to be excited about, I
Oh
think.
God, yes. Oh, and every time you look at this disaster and that disaster, and I'm sure you too, as an empath, you feel the pain and the anguish of the people, right? And it can be really kind of quite heavy, and you really have to protect ourselves and work through it, because quite honestly, there is more light in the world than there is darkness, and really what we're doing is telling people to take off the blinkers, and
Yeah.
and see the light, because that light, in its contrast with the darkness, is where the clarity is. And we're all looking for clarity. And with so many people awakening, things like your books just kind of make sense of what they're already feeling, make sense of what they've already experienced, make sense of what's happening around them, and shows them how much they are already a part of it and what they can do in walking with it moving forward.
Right, absolutely. And that's really what the record keeper said when they said, to write this latest book, was they said, we want all the people who are just awakening to start
Yes.
to catch up really
Yeah.
quickly, so
Yes.
they don't have to take 10 years of
Yeah.
studying so many, so much ancient wisdom. There's a lot of
Right.
things to study out there, but it's kind of come together in a very simple way in this book. And I thought it was so beautiful. They gave me, for the table of content, it was, why am I here equals your soul's plan, relationships equals your soul contracts, right? Completing karma equals soul growth. So they gave it in this: talents and gifts equal purpose, past lives equals wisdom. And so trauma equals blocks to freedom, and confusion equals misalignment. So they gave it to me in this very kind of a simple way to start to
That makes sense.
understand, right?
Yeah.
Why am I confused? Why am I, why can't I make enough money? What is, some of these things are about misalignment, and really, holding old false beliefs and patterns that are in the collective. And so this is just helping people to see things more clearly, because when we go, oh, aha, I
Yes.
get it. Oh,
Yeah. And then once you open this up, then there is the more inquisitiveness and wonderment to open that up. And then from there, that opens up. And the next thing you know, and yeah, let's face it, the people that are coming on board now that are willing to really take the path, God, you're the lucky ones. Because, we had to go through the thorns and, and chisel the rock with our bare hands to give you that path, right? So, and this is the thing. Please never take it for granted. This is the thing. Gratitude and appreciation for everything you are and everything you're here to do and everything you need to participate in. And when it again comes from that gratitude consciousness, no matter what your instrument is, you'll play it well and you'll play it honestly. Even if we've made the path easier for you, there's still a responsibility of how you walk that path.
Right. And bringing your gifts out and your wisdom and truth is so important for each and every person to realize that you're a vital, unique soul with a unique, right, truth and position and talent and gift and love. And so it really is time to shine your light out in every way you can, and start small if that's what's comfortable. Be the light with your family or your friends, or a little bit at work, maybe.
Yes.
Right.
If the biggest leap is that first step, right? Take that first step. 5 years ago, I was given a saying, which I'm sure I've said in one of the other shows, is the universe is shaking us up to wake us up, for us to step up, to change it up, and grow up. Grow up vibrationally, but grow up as a human race. Let's stop being so petty, right? Let's stop being so ignorant and nasty to one another. If we just made a choice today 2023, I am not going to be unkind to anyone. I'm not going to be unkind to myself, because remember, if you're unkind to other people, you are to yourself. Everything you do to other people is coming from you, so therefore you are doing it to yourself. So if you decide, I'm just going to ride the kindness wagon, I'm just going to be kind to everyone, and see how that kindness helps you grow within yourself. Ignite the love and compassion in yourself. You know, the small changes really do add up, don't they?
In a huge, huge way. I agree. And, what I will occasionally remind myself is we really are magnets, right? So
Yes.
whatever we are spreading out, carrying out, however we're being in the world is. And so even again, unless we want to draw, anger, upset, nastiness back to us, it really is about the love and the compassion and the kindness and the caring and being that. And that is, before we know it, we will see that in the whole world, and we will be creating our new earth and living in our heaven on earth.
Yes.
And yes,
And the people that have chosen to live in hell, which isn't pitchforks and devil things. It's when you persecute yourself and have to persecute everyone else around you. When you're governed by greed and power, and or apathy, or you just simply have no care in the world for anyone else but yourself, that you've put yourself in hell. You really have. And you're given that choice all the time. You can change this around. Now, some people are too lazy. They want it quick. I know it's too much effort. And for some people, it's like, I just don't know how. Or some people, they're too far gone. We can't help those people, because one thing we have to understand, we can't help anyone until they are willing to be helped. So they say you can take a horse to water, you can't make it drink. However, you leave it there long enough, it's going to realize it's thirsty. So the more and more we make that water so beautiful and crystal clear and first quenching, the more and more they're going to be wanting to partake from it, right? The one that shoots the bullet holes in the in the thing to drain all the water, we can't help those. They're too far gone, right? But we can help those of free will that say, I want to wake up. I want more out of life than what the world is giving us. I want peace. I want love. You want that? Learn to be it. Learn to be the love you seek. Learn to be the peace we need. Learn to be the solution by being a solution to your own life.
And it really is probably so much more doable than it ever has been before.
Absolutely.
And so, to me, that's one of the things that's, really important to remember every day, that, we can do this. We've got this. We are doing it. We've been at it for a long time now.
Yes.
and we are seeing a change. And so just a little more light, just a little more love out there.
Despite what the news tells you, despite all the hate and the violent rhetoric over that, those are the people that are trying to resist, and they can't. It's that love will always win out. It always has. Hallmark has made an industry out of this. And the thing when you step into just, I choose to love instead of hate, I choose to be compassionate, doesn't mean I condone some actions. I don't condone what somebody's doing to someone else if it's hurting them, but I'm not going to pass judgment. They have to be held accountable by themselves or by the higher power of accountability. All you can do is wish them an open heart consciousness. If we could send all the people out there that are in that confusion, heart consciousness, if they could just open up to that heart consciousness, they'll be on the road to their own healing.
Right. And so beautiful that so many people now are doing big collective meditations. And they truly do. So, I'm a fan. I join in whenever I can, because I know that the more of us that are holding that light around the planet, the more of us who are saying, yes, let me be the love. The more the easier it is for that to ignite and to ripple through everyone on the earth. And so again, it just, I'm thrilled that that we're here in 23,
Yeah.
ready to create and build this new earth. And I'm very grateful, of course, to people like you
Right back
for
at you.
you know, letting me share my books and wisdom and the Akashic Record keepers.
We've
And
all
I
got
know,
we've all got a role to play.
yep.
And I stepped into this role 10.5 years ago, and all that I had done in my life prepared me for this. This is
Mm.
where I was meant to be. I had to wait for technology to catch up, and I had to wait until I had crawled out of my own Grand Canyon because I put myself in
Right.
one. And, I stepped into this blind, deaf, and dumb in order to see, hear, and feel. And literally, if there is no major preparation for every show, it's go with the flow, really let our energies dance and let them sing, because I think that I want people to feel the knowledge, not just hear it,
Mm.
right?
Right.
And we've all got a
Absolutely.
role. We've all got the instrument. We've all got something that we've been gifted. And if we could just open up to what that gift is and step into that role, then we'll actually understand what our purpose is. And our purpose is to share that gift, that role, that ability to ignite heart and souls, and for us to all live as one beautiful choir in exaltation and harmony, right? And as kumbaya as it sounds, it actually is a goddamn beautiful place to be, right?
Yes,
When we
yes,
choose
yes,
together. So,
yes,
it really, the invite's been out for a long time, but I think more and more people are getting the invitation.
yes. I agree. I agree. And the more that we kind of move out of our own way, right?
Yes.
Out of our own self-doubt, the more
Out
we
of
can
the
be like,
head,
yes,
out of
out
the
of the
head.
head and into
Yes.
the heart, right?
Heart, soul, and
Exactly.
spirit. They've got an intellect. Listen to them.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
The more we get down into our heart, right? It doesn't take that much. And so
Right.
people are waking up and just saying, oh, I can just be. I can
Yeah.
be me.
Yes.
That's just perfectly good enough, and share that love and that light. And so, um, it just is exciting again. I just always come back to kind of excitement because I
Yeah.
feel like I see this, I feel that the
Yes.
energy is changing, and I know it will continue really throughout this year quickly.
Yeah.
And I
The foot to the
believe that,
pedal, right?
yes,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've been saying for a long time they're turning the volume up on us, notch, 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 and the more we rise, the bigger the volume can do, because they want us to get to a certain frequency. So they're
Right.
turning the volume up as they're putting that foot to the pedal, and it's like, come on, quickly, jump on. We're going places.
We are going, absolutely. So it is a lovely time to be awakening. And just I am always so thrilled to start to see people really,
Yeah.
back and out and about in the world, and looking forward to be more in-person aspects again, whether
Uh-huh.
we're doing events or expos, but really creating community. And I know
Mm.
that's something that has felt kind of missing for a while, and so I start to see that this year, like lots more events and lots more community coming together. And for me, one of the fun things is talking to people I haven't talked to in
Yeah.
5 or 10 years,
Yes.
kind of like we're coming through this circle of,
Yes.
we've met lots of people, and now we're coming back to those soul family members, those people we have soul
Yeah.
contracts to support, who are here in the world, to share our joy and light, and share theirs with them and
Right.
out into the world. And so many ways that
All those beautiful instruments coming together in a different orchestra, right? You can
again,
have many orchestras
yes,
in life, right?
yes,
That's the
yes,
beauty of it. And
absolutely.
and don't you find too that, I always say the village is only as strong as everybody's participation. But
Mm.
if that all these beautiful villages are coming up, people aren't wanting to have, I don't want too big. It's too much. I feel disconnected. I want that village. I want that community where we're there supporting and helping each other. And then you've got some people who are just the wanderers that go from village to village. And that's me, that because that's what I'm always meant here to do. And we come and we ignite and we do something and we leave that village in slightly different view and perspective and move on. But the thing is the bottom line is the coming together. We've done it digitally, and I do feel that the togetherness before maybe wasn't as appreciated or as honest as it is now, because we needed, I mean, COVID happened for a reason. It was to make us pause and reflect. It was to redirect. It was for us to understand what's really important in life. And so many that I've interviewed saying, I've just stopped chasing. I stopped going down that road. I have completely gone in a different direction. And it was the greatest gift. And so whether something is negative or not, how do we find the positive in it? And that's a choice.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So as we kind of come back and create this new year, which is so, so lovely, with all of these, you know, with all this positivity, with all of the excitement and the dreams and the knowing that we can do it. We've got this.
Yes.
We are doing it. It is done. Right.
Get into wonderment.
Yes.
You're like, you know, oh, I can't wait for this. Yeah, I wonder what it's going to, and I don't care if it, you know, shoves a little mud at me. I'll plant it and put a seed in it and see how it grows, right?
Right.
Turn everything to something else. The world and the universe is not out to get you. You know, if you do receive some mud, it's for you to do something with it. It's not out to get you. It's out to teach you. And when we can change that perspective, and we don't need to go for such hard lessons every time, if we're willing to learn on the tap tap wink wink. We don't need the Grand Canyons or the cosmic 2x4s. We get those when we're not paying attention. So when we pay attention, it's you know, as I said, the little pothole that we maybe trip on rather than the great wang bang. Wow. You know,
definitely so much easier. The higher your consciousness is, the easier the more of a little tap or a, you know, like, hey, you know, time to do this, time to change directions, you know,
more aware, more discerning. You're more conscious of who's going to get your energy, because you want to give your energy to the people that really not only appreciate, but are going to do something with it. Right. So, you know, your circle in many ways becomes smaller, but collectively your energy grows bigger.
Right. Right. I believe that there's a lot of expansiveness too. And the one thing I always find is like all of the little groups, because I'm a leader myself too, but we're also interconnected. We are all one, right? So when we start to even think about it in that way, like, oh, I've got this family here that I do this with, and that little group I do that group and then we start to realize, oh, you know, you and you know, and we're already one group. So it's kind of,
we were in this orchestra together. We were in that orchestra together.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's the joy of it, because, you know, we realize, and this is the thing about it, and this is like I say to people, and they go, how does this work? You can send love and light to someone anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. And the more people that do send that love and light, the more it can ignite or serve or blanket or heal whatever that person's going through. Do not believe that you always have to be in person. In person is wonderful, but if you can't be, collective energy can do so much when it is directed at someone in need. And so even our enemies, you know, if you say to them, I wish you heart consciousness, and more people that wish them heart consciousness, the more it starts chiseling away at that heart and opening it up. And when the heart opens up, that's when the consciousness wakes up.
That is definitely a great blessing for everyone to be aware of, and for us all to practice every day, just sending that love and that heart consciousness out into the world, knowing, right? Sending those blessings to whoever it is that may be in need or in pain, or maybe the one who you are judging as, you know, creating that pain, sending them that heart consciousness.
Exactly.
Every single
because
day.
that's the healing beginning, right? That's where it's all at. So the order of your books, even though this is the new one that comes out on the 24th of January. The order of your book you would recommend for people to Your Soul Has a Plan, Awaken to Your Life Purpose for Akashic Records. But which
Correct.
book would you recommend that they go to next?
Well, you know, from questioning to knowing, and it's this way. I always laugh because I always have so many little post-its in my books. 73 healing prayers to transform your life, and I channeled them from the Akashic Record Keepers. When they told me to write a prayer book, I said, "Really?" And they laughed at me and they said, "Did you forget that you spent 10 years as a prayer practitioner with the Center for Spiritual Living?" And I said, "Yeah, I kind of did, because my children were so small. I forgot so much."
Oh God, yes, yes.
Moving so fast.
Yes.
So that would be book 2, because this is so helpful in, you know, when we go to places like there's a prayer for self-trust. There's a prayer to trust others. There's a prayer for worthiness of unique self. Some of the simple things we've been talking about, because often the things that will hold us back or stop us is our own self-doubt and lack of trust in ourselves and our abilities. And so there's everything from prayer for healing abuse to, you know, to stepping more fully into our energetic gifts and powers. There's a golden light prayer. And so really allowing yourself to release judgment, blame, guilt, shame, and all those prayers are also in here, all those prayers to clear those energies. And you can say them once a day for a week, or many of my students will say them every day for 30 days, sometimes, to really bring that more full circle in the body. And so that is the second book that I would recommend. And then
before you get to the second book, I think it's also a great idea, after you've read it and you've got the prayers there, but even to go to the book at the beginning of your day and go, what do I need to know today? And literally open it up and let it go to the prayer that you need today, because that is what's going to guide you on your way. So the third book.
Yep. And just one more thought is that I actually listed every one of the prayers. They're sprinkled through in it with the information in the book, but at the end I put them all in order, so you could literally just go to that last chapter and you just have 73 prayers. So you can skim through the list, or you can just open that part, or however that works for you. A lot of people love to do that. So the third book is The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records. And this is the How to Access Your Own Akashic Records book. So once you understand your plan, you've done quite a bit of your energetic healing with the prayers, and you're ready to learn to open your own Akashic Records, this is the book for you.
Right. And the Akashic Records are important because, again, it kind of gives you a roadmap of who you are and what you were here to do, but also to let go of some things that just do not serve you anymore. They're outdated, which, when, you know, with that kind of spring cleaning, that means that you have more focus and energy on what you are meant to do, right? And not clouded by those old things that just are not here purposeful anymore.
Right. When we get stuck in, you know, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? It's likely that you're already doing part of it, because again, as I say, you know, I have a purpose as a mother. Well, I'm still a mother, even though my children are in their late 20s, but you know, they're all home and
right,
the holidays, right? So you get
my kids are all in their 30s and turning 40, and they're still my babies.
They're still right, of course, and our businesses, and for me, teaching people to access their own Akashic Records. But all of these, you know, being the communicators that we are, sharing the gifts and the wisdom that we have, all of that is part of this. And we think of purpose as like a single job description, we're actually, you know, kind of holding ourselves back from diving deeper into the truth of who we are and what we've come to share. So
step into the wonderment, step into the excitement, right? There's no fear here. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's clarity.
It's clarity. And that's what the Akashic Records can really, really give us, because when you can open your records and ask specific questions of your record keepers, these beautiful beings of light that are here in service to you, and you can say, you know, what else have I come to do? Is this path part of my path, or this purpose, or this person to be with, or a million questions you can ask. You can get really clear directive and support so that it makes it easier to keep on walking down the road and not get stuck in our old patterns of fear or doubt, right? So
it's like a heavy coat that you've been carrying around for, eons and eons. And it's just like,
right,
we've got lighter coats now to keep you warm. You don't need to have this great big buffalo coat on anymore.
Exactly.
Let it go.
Exactly, right?
And what do you offer what do you offer your clients? What kind of programs have you got going on?
So I have actually my online Learn to Access Your Own Akashic Record workshop will be starting the end of February. And that is, I teach people over 4 weeks, twice a week. To really dive deep into the records. And I love to do it in these in-person online workshops because having someone hold the energy, of the field for you, having me answer your questions when you go into doubt. I love the book. The book is a great place to start.
Yes.
But having a teacher to ask questions of. And in that program, I'm doing 8 sessions now, so that there's 6 teaching sessions, but there's actually 2 sessions where I do energy healing. For the group and answer your questions and take you deeper and do guided visualizations. And so it's a very full, deep accessing your Akashic Record workshop. And so that's the next big piece that I have coming up after the book launching.
And so people if they're interested in that, they can just go to your site.
Yes, it will absolutely be listed on the homepage and on the page with classes.
And that's the akashicknowing.com?
akashicknowing.com, yes.
And for people who are just listening and not reading it, because it will be on the YouTube thing, but that is AKASHIC knowing, KNOWING.com, akashickknowing.com.
Correct. Absolutely. Yes, I know. It's a little hard to spell for many of us.
And of course, there's Akashic Knowing on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube and on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And you've also got your Infinite Wisdom site and your Akashic Prayers site for the books and everything as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's, we may have passed Christmas, but, I think I've always said this, that books are a gift that keep on giving. And, somebody at the present moment that really wants to, they've made the choice that this is going to be their soul search this year. This is going to be when they're going to ignite the heart and soul and spirit, and they just need some help to do it. It just start off with book 1 or give them all 3 books and let them read the books and let them reach out to you, because the more we actually understand what is our past and should stay in the past, what is our present, and that gives you more clarity to know what our future is and what we're here to do. And we could step into that without the burden and the baggage if we could just understand where everything belongs. And that is, I think, a really important step, because so many people who awaken then get confused with past programming.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And that past programming then confuses them and very often stifles them and stops them from walking forward. So, know what is an old programming that's just obsolete but still annoying, or, stifling you, and how to delete it. It's had its time, and how to be present to recognize what you need to know now, and how to be clear on where to go in your next steps. And it's just, it's really as simple as that, isn't it?
It is simple as that, and it will be a glorious year. And so
yes.
I am so wishing that for everyone. Ease and grace in creating your new life, new earth, right, with great consciousness and joy.
Yeah, and funny enough, when I do my own shows every week, very often I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I just press the button and see what comes out. And one show was on our higher consciousness, stepping into our higher consciousness. And that, the other show on Greeting 2023 was about, doesn't matter what gets thrown at us. This doesn't mean we're going down It just means, we have the power, we have the resilience, we have the knowledge of what to do with it, and look at it as a propelling you up.
Yes. Yes. One more thing to be conscious. Every time we can see an old pattern or program, or we can be like, oh, now I can see it. I can release it, right? Now that when you get that, I can see that spot on those clothes. I can clean them out.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
It's time.
Yeah, you don't have to throw everything out, right? And that's the thing is, do these old patterns come up and raise their head? Yes, it doesn't mean you've gone back there. No. It just means, like, just be conscious that if you go down that path, you will go down back there. This isn't the answer. And let it go and go. Yeah, thank you for the visit. Goodbye.
Right. Because we are human. We cycle and cycle and cycle. And, and that's okay too, because every time it's a little lighter, it's a little easier. There's more awareness until poof, it eventually will pop and not come back again. And so again, just letting yourself be in all that flow and know everything is in that perfect divine right timing.
Yes.
And that we are all awakening as a group as we do this work. And
then you're talking about right timing. Here's the big P word, folks. Patience. It took you many lifetimes to get this screwed up. Right? Be patient. Go through the process. Give yourself permission to love yourself and be of love, and just let it be.
I love it.
Always a delight having you here. Always, always, always. And please, folks, go back and listen to our other shows, because we dive into, again, some other wonderful deep wells of wisdom and knowledge and love and light. And please pick up her books. You may be the one that needs it. But, I always say, where people have book clubs, I say podcast clubs. Listen to the same podcast. Each person comes in with their own reflection, what they learned from it. And all of a sudden, you do have that whole orchestra of knowledge there, right? So you just don't forget to share, togetherness, have conversations. We learn from those that are learning. We learn from those that have learnt. So please be willing and open to receive. And even if it doesn't make sense in the moment, it will if you keep moving forward. The clarity will come.
Beautiful. It's been a joy, Sarah. Thank you for having me back again.
Always.
It's really a pleasure.
Anytime. So the book is out on the 24th of January, and everything can be found at akashicknowing.com. And all of the books are there. So please don't forget to pick it up, to read it, to take the journey. I promise you, it is such a wonderful journey to take when you decide to immerse yourself into it, and to get to that point in your life where you get up every day in gratitude, in love for who you are, and what you're doing, and whom you're doing for. That is the clarity we all seek in life, and that is something that is so worthwhile taking the journey for. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you.
Until next time, folks, it's all up to you, but we're here for you. Until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Find all of our shows on selfdiscoverymedia.com under podcasts or selfdiscoverymedia/shows. And for all our current shows, go to What's New. We are supported by you, the audience. You'll see a nice big shiny blue button for one-time donations, or follow us on Patreon, and you will be able to support us there. We enjoy bringing you such wisdom. And the next show will be up in just a moment.